Okay, so I have a built-in warning system. My guy's gonna text me when he's on his way home. So I'm gonna get past the edges here on this cow so that we can move on to some of the funner stuff that's kind of harder to figure out. So when I'm shading these spots in here, you're gonna be like, well, I can't all do one color because it's basically gonna be, you know, the muscles of the cow. There has to be some sort of shading, right? So that's the part that I sort of get stumped with sometimes. But the way that I look at it is his legs are gonna go sort of in through here and through here. So I want that area to be a little darker. Any like sort of dents in your drawing, those are gonna be shaded a little bit darker. So you can kind of see I've started some of those areas. And then the best way to do it for me is to do all the edges and work my way in. But for your sake, I think I'm gonna try to do this area right here, which is gonna be a little bit difficult, but it's gonna be fun. Okay, so we've got his little leg right here, and I've been like shading in his udders. It might be a girl cow. Do guy cows have udders? I don't know. I should know because I live in the Midwest and I literally was a show person with horses, so I had a lot of friends who showed cows, but I just can't remember. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm gonna bring my line up here. Now this really dark line, I have my burner set to a lower temperature right now. I'm not gonna get that dark color with my shading at the moment. I'm gonna go back through later and do it. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna get my shape going for his leg shades. So this is gonna be just a little bit darker than the rest of it, the rest of the backside here. Anywhere there's pencil marks is gonna be definitely way darker because it's like the muscle tone. So I put those in just for myself. The rest of it, I just kind of wanted to go with it and talk about it as I go because it's kind of one of the harder parts about shading and wood burning together. It gets hard figuring out where to shade, what to shade, why you're shading it, things like that. Again, I always plug this eraser. Okay, so I don't get paid for anything, obviously. I don't have a ton of followers, but this eraser has changed my life. I got it in college, and it's like a little eraser tip button. It's awesome. It spins. Okay, get all my eraser marks out of there. So I'm gonna go just up from this line. And you always want to go in the direction. So this is hard to explain because when you're down here at the udder, you're gonna go in an arc following this line at the bottom. But with this, you want it to jump off the page, basically. You want it to look 3D. So when you've got a vertical line and you're working with, like, imagine a tall cylinder like this. If I'm shading this, I gotta be really careful. This is an aerosol can, so I'm gonna set this down. So if I'm shading this, I want my lines to be in the shape of this and this. I want to be perpendicular to the edges here. So that's what I'm gonna do with my cow legs. As I'm getting into this area, I want to go perpendicular because it's gonna make it look more 3D. And you'd think, why does the line shape matter? Why does the direction matter? It's because your eyes work in a funny way. Even if you don't shade this perfectly, if the lines are going in that direction, your eye will fill in the blanks. Like, it's really cool because some of drawing, like if you ever look at impressionistic art, basically it's blobs, but because our eyes work the way they do, those blobs look like shapes. It's kind of cool. So I'm doing my little dance on the catwalk, yeah. Now I'm doing my little shaded lines, and I'm going up through here because I know that this is his hind leg muscle. And I just want to make a sort of like impression for my eye to understand that his leg continues, like his muscle continues through here, even though you don't see it in a hard line, you'll see it in the shading. So realistically, where I was shading is too far over. It's gonna actually go towards his tail, but I can fix that by just shading over here. And then this is where it comes in handy to start out really light, because if I was shading like with really dark and I mess that up, there's no real way to fix it unless I use a Dremel tool. But if I'm shading really light, I haven't actually made a lot of color yet. I haven't made a lot of darkness. So I can go through over on this side and darken this and leave that where it's at, because this is going to be darker than that eventually. Obviously, I don't think you could even see the shading from the camera. Maybe. You can kind of see it. Not really. And this is where that shade scale comes in really handy, because you want to have at least one area with your darkest square and one area with your lightest square. So for me, my lightest squares are going to be here, 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 and maybe the tail. Maybe. I can't figure out. I might have to look at a picture of a cow to figure out if their tail goes outwards. So if his tail were to be like a dog tail, if I was doing a straight dog behind, like the dog tail will come out towards me if it's shorter tail. So, but the cows, I don't know if they have a bone that sticks out more or if it's just this way where it goes straight down. So I'm just going through and darkening the area right around the tail, because that's going to be one of the darkest areas. That's why they call him Mr. Fahrenheit. Okay, so that song is stuck in my head, you guys. I can't help it. I need to learn some new songs, because I'm stuck in the early 2000s. And then ballad songs are awesome. I love ballad songs. Like some good Celine Dion. Ooh, I love Celine Dion's voice. And Kelly Clarkson. And Amy Lee from Evanescence. Let's see, what's a Celine... Okay, I know a Celine Dion song that I'll sing. Let's see how many minutes I'm at. I'm at 7 minutes. So, this is where I got so far. And we're going to keep working on it. I will be right back in the next segment. Ooh.